Now I'm going to give you what I call my architecture lesson. In 30 minutes, I'm going to give you what I've learned in 35 plus years. And we're going to talk about new buildings, renovations of existing houses, and then some subtleties that I want you to learn about. I reckon there's 3 types of new buildings. There's a box version, there's an axial version, and a pavilion version. You'll understand in a second. Here we go. Here's a box house, sort of. This is one we did at Toowong some years ago. I call it the White House. It doesn't have Trump in it, thank heavens. In front of this house, there's a classic lifted Queenslander house. We lifted it 3 metres and it looks beautiful. But this was a bit of spare land. The shape of this house is efficient in terms of construction cost. The most efficient shape, by the way, to build a house is a pure cube. If you can build a sphere, that is the most efficient because a sphere has the least surface area for the amount of volume in it. A cube is quite close to that. That's why you see these ugly box houses all over the country. They started in Melbourne in the 80s, and gee, I wish they didn't turn up anywhere. No eaves, that horrible thing. They're cheap to build because they create volume at a very low cost. But a box house doesn't have to be just a pure cube. This house is a T shape, and what it does is it subtends some other spaces in the left and the front. Sorry, left front and front right. The left front, as you see on the screen, that's part of a living room. On the right is a carport. We deliberately placed the carport like that so it was less dominant to the street facade. I get really distressed when I see houses with these 2-car width garages and this tiny door to get in. What it says to the street is, we love cars. We don't like living in houses. Try your damnedest to stop the car from taking over the elevation. Here's an axial house. Now, I've got a few stories attached to this one. Basically, it's like a train carriage. She's long and thin, 1 room wide. This is the most efficient shape of a building anywhere on this planet. Because if you face the thin ends towards the west and the east, therefore it doesn't suffer from the morning and setting summer sun. In winter, it gets a lot of light in the long elevation. Now this one though, there's some tricks with this. The long elevation you're seeing now is actually facing the south. The north side, which is the other side, has really high windows in it to suck in lots of light. We did that because there's views, massive views from this side to the south. So you don't have to follow the orientation perfectly, but you've still got to think about it. The other story about this house is, when I saw these people, this was their 3rd house we'd done. I met them on site. This is a huge site. I think it's 1.5 hectares or something. Dam and just huge thing out near Dayborough. I met them on site, drove up, got out of the car where their car was. The only flat bit on the entire site was about 100 square metres of flat area. And they said, we're going to put the house here, Peter. Peter says, no. They looked at me and went, Peter, you said no. Do you really want to do this house for us? And I said, yes, but come for a walk. By that time, I'd assessed where the house should be and I knew where to put the drive. Because that's what I do in my head, I can think like that. So I went for a walk with them and we went up this track that I created in my head and it went in a huge arc. Because going straight up would have been about a 1 in 4 slope, I think, pretty steep. But where I went was about 1 in 9, I think, from memory. They said, where are you walking? I said, wait, stock up where the house is actually placed. I said, we're putting the house here, it's going to be long and narrow, and you just walked up the driveway. And they went, oh, right. I said, now look at the views, because I had a feeling there was going to be views when I got up there. Thank God there was. I said, turn around, look. They went, oh, we walked up here the other day, but didn't even think of putting the house here. They put the house there. It's just magic, the spot now, because they get the views, they get great light. The other thing I told them was, they said to me at the bottom, on the flat area, we want a 4-bedroom house, Peter. I said, no. I knew how old their kids were. They were all in their 20s. I said, are you mad? And they said, well, a couple of them are coming back, and I said, fine, 2 coming back, make it a 3-bedroom house, make them multi-purpose. Don't put bedrooms everywhere. As it turned out, that's what they did. We've just got multi-purpose rooms down the right-hand end, and one of them became a study, the other one became a TV room on occasion, or a guest room. It was very flexible. They sold it, and the new people, would you believe, got onto us, and we put a granny flat underneath this house in the space we'd left, in case something ever like that happened. Here's a pavilion house. A pavilion house is like the other 2, but pulled apart. They can be a lot of fun to live in. They cost more because we've pretty much doubled the wall area of the thing. But if you can afford that, they are just the best thing. These clients, this house is out past Sanford, as it turns out. Pretty big site, so we had a bit of room, we could play with it. They said, we have to be away from the kids, but near enough. We also want our room to feel, you know, a bit resort-like, away from the rest of the house. So in my head I went, pavilion, good idea, let's do that. You know, whipped up something and said, what do you think of that? And they went, yeah, do it. So we developed this. Another thing I want you to learn from this one is, every building ends up with what I call axes in it. In this room, there's a few axes. There's one up the middle, there's one across the front here. Let's call them X and Y. If you're a mathematician, you'll know about the Z-axis, the vertical one. Where they intersect, you should put the Z-axis, the stairs. So, the most efficient way to make a building work is to get your axes to intersect and create good stair positions. And if you look in the plan of this, right in the middle, all those multi-lines, that's the stairwell, where all the axes of this building intersect. Now I'm going to give you a long lesson on renos. And I reckon you can go in, out, up, down, separate and everywhere. Wait till you see the everywhere house. This is the only shot you're going to see that we didn't do. I was involved in this project though, initially. We gave it to Kim Duffin, who's the world's best kitchen designer. Fabulous fella. I came on site and said, you don't need me. You just need help with a few bits of structure. Go to Kim because he specialised only in this sort of thing. And I said to them, look, your house is already big enough. And I bet Kim says the same thing. Sure enough, it was true. This is an example of don't assume anything. There was a horrible place for the bathroom. Everything was just messy as anything. So we relocated almost everything in the house except for the bedrooms. This is such a better result than what the house was. It became worth nearly double what it was worth for having spent a lot less than double the money.